Hello, my friends. So we are back for round 2 of Aunt Tammie speaks her mind and Amber not being able to handle it. So this is going to be Amber reacting to the second interview between Tammie and Jordy, which is them reacting to Amber reacting to their first interview. I think that's what's happening here. So if you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not gonna lie. But before we get started, there was something I was thinking about after the last video. We feel like we know Amber, right? And we're not even family, but she posts her whole life on the internet. So we can tell when she's lying. We can tell when she's exaggerating stories. We can tell when she's playing the victim. So imagine what it's like for somebody like Tammie who watches her videos, but also knows her personally. Of course she knows Amber. Amber loves to say, "You don't know me. You don't know anything about me."
My aunt does not know me. My aunt does not know me.
How would you know anything about me? You don't know me. Yeah, we all do. And Tammie probably knows you even more because not only does she have just the information you give, but she also has the context of just knowing you. For not having any communication at all, and for you claiming that there's no way she could know anything about you, you seem to know a lot about her. So how do you know that? And she doesn't even post her entire life to YouTube like you do. I'm assuming, however, you know that is probably the same way Tammie knows what's going on with you and knows who you are and what you're doing, you know, and can call out your behavior. So anyway, let's get started. This is another long one. I may cut this into 2 parts. We'll see if there's enough interesting stuff and we'll go from there.
I have a surprise for
Girl, I'm a hater, but this has turned me to an amb.
everybody.
Thank you.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, somebody said, "Girl, I'm a hater, but this has turned me into an am baby." Basically, like, okay. Now, I know that some people are like, "Why is Tammie doing this?" And like I said in my last video, it's not that there was one big thing that caused Tammie to come out now. It's just Amber being Amber for so long, and it's that kind of death by 1,000 cuts. Eventually, you get tired of hearing her play the victim and hearing her get away with things like the stuff with Emily. Now, Emily is problematic on her own, don't get me wrong, but yeah, Tammie just is tired of hearing Amber play the victim, knowing who Amber really is.
If you need to go.
That has happened to literally a lot of people. Like, I have got, like, this all started back, like, a lot of people have been just like, Amberlynn, I used to be like a fan of the reaction channels. Like, I used to love the reaction channels, etc., etc. And,
Yeah, I'm sure that happens all the time. People are messaging her saying, "I used to be a fan of the reaction channels, but now I've seen how wonderful you are. I've seen how great you are. It's true that you're actually really awesome." Okay. Because here's the thing. I think most am babies are am babies because A, they're young and naive, and B, they probably haven't really either been around long enough to hear the lies be exposed, right? Because they always are. We're always proven right. Or they have just kind of been sucked into her vortex and her kind of echo chamber where all they hear as far as reaction channels go is just how she complains about them and how she's the victim and they feel sorry for her. But once you start watching reaction channels and you can start seeing the patterns and they start pointing out all the lies, it's very hard unless you're an idiot to become an am baby.
so many people are just like, I'm sorry. And yeah, anti-boring serving lukewarm.
Yeah, that's, you know, I can see that happening. I bet she gets thousands of messages every day of people saying, "I'm so sorry that I watched reaction channels." Girl, shut up.
Something fun.
The fact that Jordy's like so excited just goes to show that like he genuinely like lacks empathy, sympathy. Like, he reminds me, like, no tea, no shade, of someone that's like maybe antisocial personality disorder, maybe like a little sociopath type deal. I don't know what it is. There's armchair people.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That makes sense coming from Amberlynn. She says, "No tea, no shade," but maybe the people that don't like me are antisocial and sociopathic. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there that if you don't like me, it could be because you're a psychopath or a sociopath. I'm just, you know, that would make sense. Shut up. And Again, trying to discredit the person that's talking about her. And we know why Jordy's excited, because this is a big deal. Amber's aunt coming forward to talk about her is a big deal. And obviously Jordy doesn't like Amber, but he's not enjoying it because he loves being mean. He's not doing it because he can't wait to hurt Amber as much as possible. He's doing it because it's a big deal. It gives him a lot of attention. And I'll be honest, Tammie doesn't really spill anything that's that groundbreaking or earth-shattering. She doesn't reveal any crazy information that would turn gorlworld upside down or anything. But the crazy thing is, she really doesn't have to, because just her talking has brought Amberlynn out, and Amberlynn has really shown her true colors through this. Throughout this live, she has shown that she has not changed since she was 20 years old, and her narcissism and entitlement and just general attitude is on full display. Just at the thought that Tammie could say something. Because most of the stuff that Tammie says we already knew. It's nothing crazy. But Amber's reaction to it is absolutely worth it.
People call me a narcissist every day, so I'm gonna throw it out like I see it as well. Like, you can just see it in his eyes. Like, I get it. Like, I'm pale as they come. Like, it looks like I haven't seen the sun in literal years, but it looks like
Okay, this tone of voice is seriously going to drive me to throw my computer out the window. I haven't seen the sun in years. I get it because people call me a narcissist every day. Shut up. You are not 12 years old.
the sun his whole life. He's gray. Like, work on it, honey. Maybe get on some vitamin D, go outside a little bit. I feel like I go outside more than you, and that's saying a lot. Maybe you should also get a dog, because I swear Twinkie's the only thing that, like, puts me outside in that sun.
That hair bobbing as she jiggles, like, God, what a weirdo. And she doesn't do herself any favors by putting her hair in weird situation type deals with the top little thing or the pigtails or whatever. She just loves to make herself look as weird as possible, you know?
Like, genuinely, I understand depression and stuff, but, like, to act like you're holier than thou and, like, high and mighty and, like, you're the best thing since, like, sliced bread is just, like, not it. It's like,
that's what he's doing. Yeah. I can see that. Jordy is definitely saying he's better than everybody else. That's what's happening when he's talking to Tammie. Girl, there is this thing called projection. You should look it up.
with your set of eyeballs, your eyes genuinely scare me. Like, I see crazy in them. Like, genuinely terrified.
Shut up. Oh my gosh. And she, look at this. She thinks she's cooking. She thinks,
Got him!
but you just look so stupid when you say stuff like that. And then you have this face, this smug face. The only people that are buying that are babies. And I'm sorry, but I would not be proud to be like the leader of the babies. That is not a group of people I would be real excited to be associated with, you know? If you've ever wondered what smug looks like, this is it. So starting right here, she's going to be talking about Tammie.
And, like, can we talk about what I've done to you in the last 2 years or even in the last 5 years? Because, like, I've done nothing. That's the part that's like, where is this coming from?
I'm going to assume that the Emily stuff is really what was the tipping point for Tammie. We don't know for sure just yet. If you go back and look at the texts that Tammie sent to Emily, she is clearly trying to protect her family. Even with the fights, even with them not communicating, she was still trying to protect her family. Because remember, Tammie says that she watches every video Amber puts out.
Just like me, I've seen every single video she's ever put out.
And through family, she would say, like, this is dangerous for Amber. You guys need to be careful. And Amber and her mom both just defended Emily. Basically told Tammie to leave them alone. And through family, we're like, tell her we're not interested in anything she has to say. We all understand that Emily and Amber both suck, right? That is a toxic relationship. They are both toxic people. And I think Tammie understands that too. I think she understands that Emily was dangerous for Amber, but she's still family, so she was trying to protect her. But they didn't want to hear it.
So the November 1st date.
Yeah, if you'll remember, Amber thought it was crazy that Tammie would get married on her mom's soberversary date, which was November 1st.
And do you want to know something really fucking crazy? She got married on my mom's fucking soberversary date. My mom's soberversary is November 1st, and it's gonna be this year will be 10 years. My aunt got married on my mom's 7th soberversary date. Who does that?
Again, I think it is great to celebrate your anniversary of becoming sober and all that stuff. That's great. But it was just weird how she freaked out about it like that was a holiday or something.
Yes is my sister's clean date. But as most of you seen on her video, the way she said she even got married on my mom's clean date as if it was some crazy psychotic decision that I made because I'm obsessed with them or whatever it was, you know.
You're not obsessed with my mom, you're addicted to me, and you literally admitted that in the last live stream.
It was just
She didn't say she was addicted to Amber. She just said she watched every video she put out. And it's her niece, so I can kind of understand wanting to watch everything she says and everything she posts, but I think if she was my niece, I would get tired of watching her, knowing how much she's lying, knowing the true stories behind some of the stuff she's saying, and just knowing how much she plays the victim and stuff. I think I would get tired of that. But Tammie clearly keeps up with what Amber's doing so that she can have a conversation about the current topics in Amber's life.
a weird thing. So here's the truth behind that. That is my anniversary date with my husband. We got together on November 1st, 2012.
I actually genuinely don't care. I genuinely don't care.
See? And that's it, right? It was a huge deal that it was my mom's soberversary. Who does that? And when she has a perfectly reasonable explanation that it's also their anniversary, because I know it's weird, but more than one thing can happen on a date, you know? Amber immediately dismisses it. I don't care. It doesn't help my story and it doesn't have to do with me, so I don't care. Of course you don't. That's not surprising.
You cheated on your husband to get with this guy. I genuinely don't care. Like, okay, cool. Is this also like the anniversary date?
Her husband was also abusive. You can't really sit on a high horse and use that as a weapon against Tammie because her husband was abusive.
Of, oh, when I cheated on my husband? Like, I genuinely don't care.
So that date was already my date before my sister even found sobriety by 3 years. So kind of really weird that she would even go there, period. When in reality, I shared my special day, but we didn't plan it. My sister didn't be like, okay,
You shared your special day. Like, okay, that sounds narcissistic.
this is going to be the last day I use because it's my sister's anniversary, or vice versa. So it's just
Well, first of all, when you say my special day, that generally is understood as your wedding day. It's kind of just what it's called, right? My special day is a wedding day because it is a special day. And you are acting as though it was a cardinal sin to schedule a wedding or something on that specific day because it was a special day for your mom. And Tammie is saying she was willing to share a special day with your mom. So how is that narcissistic, but then acting as though only one thing can be on that day is not narcissistic? And I don't think either one is narcissistic, but I just think it's interesting that she would claim that one is and one isn't, you know?
shows Amber for Amber to try to make something out of literally nothing. But on
Yeah.
top of that, my husband's grandmother's birthday is November 1st. Talk about sharing a date. But we were kind of excited about that. Like, how awesome to have a date that
Normally, I wouldn't care about something like this, but I think it's because, like, I've known my aunt since I was 17, and she does make other people's joy, like, about her. She makes other people's pain about her and then tries to, like, make it worse. That's something me and my mom have, like, talked about, like, ad nauseum, is my aunt is very much the type of person that
Real quick, before we get to the nonsense that she's about to say, because she's really about to say that somebody else makes everything about them. Like, okay, come on. But before we get to that, I don't believe anything she says when she says, I talked to my mom told me, my mom agrees with me on something, because in the last live she did, she said, my mom told me that my aunt was freaking out or spilling tea or whatever.
So today, my mom calls me and she was like, "Do you see what's happening?" And I was like, "What?" Because I'm telling you, I have tried so hard to just like not be on social media the last few days because I was like, I need a fucking break.
And then my mom is going to be so hurt by this. Oh my gosh, you guys will not believe how much pain she's going to be in from this.
My mom is so hurt and shocked by this, and wait until she hears like what's happening now. My mom is going to be so hurt.
And then later when Mama Lynn called, those were both false. She had just lied.
So Tammie, not even gonna call her auntie anymore. I'm so fed. I'm so fed up. She went onto a reaction channel and talked about you, me, personals, and completely twisted the narrative.
Like, about what?
Now, does that sound like somebody who knew what was going on and would have been the one to tell Amber that Tammie was spilling tea? Or does it sound like this is the first she's hearing of it?
Like, about what?
She had to tell Mama Lynn what was happening, and Mama Lynn was like, yeah, that sucks, but whatever. She didn't care.
Hey,
Yeah.
so Google and see how far the grooming place is from your house.
So she can say, my mom agrees with me on anything, and I'm not going to believe her. I'm betting her mom doesn't talk to her about Tammie very much. So let's hear her say how somebody else makes everything about them.
Ad nauseum is my aunt is very much the type of person that like everything is about her. Like if you're like oh my god, when I was so excited when I was about to move into this apartment, like genuinely so excited. I was so pumped. I was like, you have no idea. My aunt made it about her. She got so mad at me. Like she blew up at me saying how she's never going to come visit me because of where it's located. Like it was like unhinged. I started bawling my eyes out because I was going through a breakup. I was about to move to a different.
Wait a minute. Didn't you say in the last live that your aunt was so excited to do a virtual tour in that apartment for you that she cried?
You think the only reason why she initially reached out was to try to get help with her apartment?
No, the only thing she ever did, it was a virtual tour that I could have gone without. It wasn't like I needed to see it. It was just like oh, do you want to see the virtual tour? Do you want to go do the tour for me? And she was so excited to do it. Oh my God, you guys have no idea. She literally was crying during the virtual tour because she was so excited.
Because she was so excited to help you get that apartment. Which is it? Those two things are opposites. So you are really having trouble keeping your story straight here.
Like a lot of things were about to change. And I was already super overwhelmed with all of the changes. And like, she was so rude, genuinely about my happiness. I was so excited. I found the perfect apartment, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it was so weird. Like,
either the thing you said in the last live about her being so excited about getting you that apartment is a lie, or this is a lie. They both can't be true. But regardless, talk about making everything about yourself. She was so upset because of my happiness. Like, shut up. And the thing about people like Amber, they will take any argument, and because she's perpetually the victim, she will blow it out of proportion, right? It could have been something so stupid as like, Tammie said, hey, I don't like this carpet color, or who are you going to get to bring all your stuff over, or I'm not going to be able to help you on such and such day, or some stupid thing, and Amber would immediately be like, you don't want me to be happy. You never wanted me to be happy. You know, does that sound like that could have happened? I think it does.
I have those messages too. If we want to like do like the message game.
Do it. Why don't you? That's the thing. Again, if she has proof, she will show it. Always. 100% of the time.
It was so weird. And like, I immediately contacted my mom and I was like, Mom, I started crying? And my mom was literally shocked. You know, that's just like a tiny example of what I've had to deal with since I was 17. It's just like.
Was she as shocked as she was when you told her about what was going on the live stream? Because if that's the case, I'm surprised she didn't end up in the emergency room out of shock, you know, when she said, oh, yeah. So anyway, call that groomer. Like, the reason she brings Mama Lynn into every story, when she wants you to believe something, she brings Mama Lynn into it. And it's because in her mind, Mama Lynn is an authority figure, right? And she knows more people like Mama Lynn. So she thinks if she can convince you that Mama Lynn believes her about something, or if Mama Lynn doesn't like Tammie for some reason, then you will side with Amber because, well, it's Mama Lynn. If Mama Lynn thinks this, then it must be true. Or I can actually identify with Mama Lynn because I kind of like her. That's her mentality. That's why every time she's telling a story or every time she's trying to refute something Tammie says, she's like, yeah, my mom agrees. Or I called my mom and she said this. It's the argument from authority fallacy that she's trying to insert into her rebuttal. But I think she's just lying a lot through this, you know?
Make it about herself, or I'll share like something super happy and she'll make it about herself. Like that's what I've had to live with. That's been the pattern. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back, or it was like the last drop of water in the water bottle, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It was very much that type of situation. Like if it,
yeah, there was a straw that broke the camel's back to make Amber stop contacting Tammie. That's what it is. Yeah, for sure. Amber was the one that decided, I've had enough. Shut up.
if this was just like a one-time thing, I would have just been like, wow, cool. Like they're sharing dates, but like my aunt is a known, I don't know how to explain it. Like a known, like it's all about me type of deal. You
Oh
know?
my God. This is Twilight Zone shit, right? Amberlynn Reed saying that somebody else is a known person who makes everything about them. Like, oh my God. And I can see Amber like assuming that somebody else is doing that because Amber wants everything to be about Amber. And when it's not, I can see her getting mad that the other person is trying to make everything about them, you know? And who knows? Tammie may very well be the type of person that wants to make everything about them. I mean, she's related to Amber, so it's possible. But it's just funny that of all people on Earth, Amber is calling somebody else out for trying to make everything about them.
For the last 2 years, I have cried to not only my mom, but I've cried to my grandma about why is my aunt doing this? Like, why has she decided to like take out her anger that she has on my mom? Why has she decided to take it out on me? Like, why didn't she say happy birthday to me? Why didn't she invite me to Easter? Like, why won't she respond to my text? Like, why won't she call me? Why won't she come visit me? Like, she knows I don't drive. She knows I don't have a license. Like, she has a license. She drives. She has a car. She has this.
Okay, I don't believe that for a second, that she cried to her mom and her grandma, why is my aunt doing this to me? I just don't believe that. But I think a lot of families have that person who is just kind of toxic and manipulative and may not even realize it, but they are just difficult. And I think that's Amber. Maybe Tammie and her have the kind of personalities that just clash. But over time, you know, a lot of family members tend to just sort of put up with the toxic person and sort of just deal with it. But then there are members of the family that just can't put up with it anymore. And at a certain point, they cut it off. They cut off the relationship. They stop talking. And Amber then doesn't understand it because she doesn't think she's done anything wrong, but she's just toxic. She's just a horrible person to be around. She's difficult. She's entitled. She's a brat. And so when Aunt Tammie says, I'm done, she's like, what the heck? What did I do? But it's just, Tammie doesn't want to deal with your shit anymore. And so she sees it as Tammie just cut off contact with me. And in her mind, or either she's lying about this or she doesn't understand it, she's like, just because my aunt got in a fight with my mom, she's taking it out on me. And that's all she sees. When I have a feeling if we were to go through and read all the communications between Amber and Tammie, I think it would paint a pretty clear picture that Amber is difficult. That's the best word I can think of. It's just, she's difficult. And at a certain point, Tammie was tired of it and cut off contact. So while, yeah, Tammie probably did, it was probably just because Amber is Amber. And of course, Amber will always blame everything on BPD. So that's her fallback position, because what are you going to do? Right? If you say, well, you behaved this way, BPD, I am immune from criticism now because I said it's BPD.
I will always
Olivia, yeah.
celebrate my sister's sobriety.
Oh, that's
And
really
so
special.
on
You won't always celebrate it. Like, you had an argument with your sister. Siblings have arguments. It's what happens. But you move the fuck on.
What That's what she's saying. She's saying, even if we aren't getting along, even if we're not talking, I still celebrate my sister's sobriety. That's what Tammie said. She's saying, no matter what happens between us, I will always be proud of her for getting sober. That's the point, is even when they're not getting along, she can be adult enough to still be proud of her sister for her accomplishments. But you don't understand that. That's something that you could never grasp. Because if you get mad at somebody, you can't be an adult about it.
In the 2-year span, my mom went out of her way to try to like make it work. My mom sent her like this like video photo collage of them, and it's just like my aunt just like was so nonchalant and like nothing came from it. Like my aunt has she's never taken the steps to try to fix this.
Here's the thing. I understand that it sucks if you try to reach out and try to mend the bridge, but your family member doesn't owe that to you, doesn't owe you forgiveness. We know the relationship between Tammie and Mama Lynn has been tumultuous, to say the least. And even though Mama Lynn is better now, so I'm not saying that Mama Lynn is a terrible person now, we don't know, right? We don't know really who any of these people are behind the scenes. All we know is what we're seeing on the internet. So all we can do is kind of speculate based on what we know. But a few things we do know are that at one point, Mama Lynn was dangerous and violent and toxic and stuff. And I can only imagine if she's getting along with Amber, they may have similar personalities behind the scenes. I don't know. But you know how sisters can be. They know each other better than anybody, and they don't have to get along, right? It's great that Mama Lynn reached out, if that's true, but Tammie is not obligated to accept that apology. That's something Amberlynn doesn't understand yet again, because she's childish. She's lived her whole life doing whatever she wants, treating everybody however she wants, and then apologizing. And it usually works, because my guess is people don't want to deal with her tantrums if they don't just say, all right, it's fine, whatever, it's cool. But at a certain point, people stop accepting your apologies.
She says that I never tried to be a good aunt to her. Oh my gosh. When I read back all these texts that
She just said she hopes you disown her. I haven't gotten there. It is what it is. But my aunt, I don't feel like she's ever tried to be a good aunt to me. Like, I feel like she's only ever wanted me in her life when like I followed suit to like her needs and how she wanted me to be as a person. That's how it felt to me, and I am allowed to have those feelings.
How she wanted me to be as a person. I'm going to guess the translation there is, my aunt didn't want me around if I was going to be lying, if I was going to be entitled and bossy and mean and toxic and lying and lying and lying. But of course, because Amber's the victim in every scenario, she says, I'm allowed to feel that way. When saying, my aunt didn't want me around unless I was how she wanted me to be as a person. My guess is Tammie just didn't want a bunch of toxicity in her house, and didn't want her tantrums, and didn't want the general bullshit that comes with living with Amberlynn, or just being around her for long periods of time. And Amber doesn't like to be told no. Amber doesn't like to be told she's doing something wrong. And so Amber sees somebody saying, hey, stop acting that way, as silencing her or making her act some other way than who she is. And the icing is, and I'm allowed to feel that way. Which, I mean, I guess you're technically not wrong. You're allowed to feel that way, but that doesn't make it right.
I don't know where any of this is coming from besides the argument that she had with my mom. And this is just becoming extremely overwhelming to the point that I'm having literal heart palpitations due to the stress. Like,
Palpitations. And also, are you sure it's due to stress? I mean, I'm sure the stress doesn't help, but it could be something else that's giving you heart palpitations. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something else that could be causing heart palpitations. I don't know.
I wish I had anybody in my life that tried as hard as I did to be a person for Amber through it all. Even when she disrespected me and lied to me over the stupidest things that didn't even need to be lied about.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like this whole lying bit. I have talked about this literally even recently. I don't know if it was in a members live stream. I don't know if it was in a vlog. I don't remember what it was in, but I publicly talked about how when I was undiagnosed with BPD, I would go through the lengths of doing these, like when I was like early 20s, even like 17, 18, 19, mid 20s. I would do these tiny little lies just to prevent people from like leaving my life, just because I had that such strong fear of abandonment. I would lie about the stupidest, dumbest little things.
Yeah, and that adds up. BPD or not, which we know Amber lies about diagnoses all the time. And I've said in the past, I don't necessarily doubt that she has BPD, at least to some extent. I don't know for sure, and there are moments that I wonder. But I think we can all see strong narcissistic tendencies bordering on NPD. The problem is, those lies over time become an issue, and they make it so that people can't trust you. And I know you're claiming it was 10, 12, 15 years ago, but you do it now. You lie constantly now. We catch you in lie after lie after lie after lie. So you can't sit here and act like this is something that you used to do, and you have been supposedly diagnosed with BPD for years now. But you continue to lie over pretty stupid things, like the fact that your mom told you and informed you that Tammie was talking on the internet. Why did you need to lie about that? Why couldn't you have just said, I saw on the internet that Tammie is talking? What would have been the big deal there? She absolutely needs you to think that she doesn't keep up with this stuff. For whatever reason, she has decided that if you think she is watching reaction channels or keeping up with what people are saying about her, that will make her look bad. So she does whatever she can to convince you that she is not watching the subreddits or the Kiwi Farms or other YouTubers or reaction channels. But she was live the minute Tammie went on to Jordy's live. So for whatever reason, she decided to lie about how she found out about it. So she's continuing to lie about innocuous, mundane, stupid things now, the little things. And it has nothing to do with fear of abandonment. She's not lying to a partner. She's not lying to her girlfriend. She's lying to the internet constantly. You are not past the point in your life where you were a liar. You are a liar now. And you use BPD as the excuse for everything you do. But you were diagnosed years ago, so you can't use I was undiagnosed as an excuse because you claim you've been getting help for it. You claim you've been doing DBT and you're in therapy and you're on Zoloft. You've got all these things going for you, yet you continue to lie.
And that is something with BPD that they do. And so when I was diagnosed, this awareness clicked. I was like, whoa. This is something I have talked about literally.
I was like, whoa, but I continued to do it. I continued to lie ad nauseum.
Publicly. Not only that, but privately, I have talked to my aunt and I've apologized for the stupidest shit that I did during immature days and unawareness to a fucking disorder that I have.
There you go. I apologized and told her I can't help it. First of all, you can only apologize so many times before people don't want to accept it anymore. And you can't handle that. You think you should be able to do whatever you want, act however you want, treat people however you want, and just apologize. And then it's fine. But you wore out your welcome. You are acting like you are all better now. Like all that's in the past. You are just as bad now as you were back then. Okay, so there was a part where Tammie is explaining how she's sort of kept in contact with the family, with Amber and Mama Lynn, without actually speaking to them. And she was saying basically her mom, Amber's grandma, was the sort of the common denominator. So Mama Lynn and Amber would go over and talk to her mom, and they would chit chat and just kind of normal conversation stuff. And then later, or at another time, Tammie would be over there and talking to her mom and have a conversation. And Amber's grandma would sort of keep each side abreast of what's happening. Okay? So she would tell Amber and Mama Lynn, this is what Tammie's up to. These are the things that she's doing or whatever. And then whenever Tammie would come, Grandma would say, this is what Mama Lynn and Amber are doing. Okay? So that's where we're at right now.
Amber went over to my mom's house one day and was playing cards, and maybe she didn't like the way Amber was talking to my sister and would mention that to me. So when Amber says I haven't been around for 2 years, I don't know nothing.
You're not gonna rip.
I know a lot. She didn't like the way Amber was talking to my sister.
So think about this. You know, Amber treats people like crap. You know she is hateful if she doesn't get her way. I can absolutely imagine her having tantrums and blowing up at Mama Lynn when she's over, because she doesn't care who's around to see it. You know, she doesn't have the self-awareness to, calm herself down in the middle of a tantrum. And so I would imagine that Grandma has probably seen some shit, has seen Amber treating Mama Lynn horribly, and probably has heard some stuff that Amber has said about Emily and whatever. And Tammie's actually saying right here that when she would talk to Amber's grandma, she would say, I didn't like the way Amber was talking to Mama Lynn. And I'm sure it was worse than that. You know what I mean? Like, she's just kind of giving a little Cliff Notes sort of thing. But I would imagine that Grandma was like, Amber needs to calm the down, So yeah, Tammie's hearing about the way Amber's treating her family and is finding out what Amber's doing and what's happening behind the scenes through Grandma.
I know a lot. A lot. And it doesn't always have to be seen with your own eyes. I mean, a lot of, you can figure out.
So she's talking about my grandma, who is, I'm going to be very honest here, my grandma is very sick. And so when we go over there and we spend time, it's a lot of laughter, a lot of light communication. Sometimes things get a little heavy, we talk about her past or things that she went through. She'll.
And Amber will never admit and may not even realize how many tantrums she has or how many times she has been hateful towards Mama Lynn. And so, of course, she's going to downplay everything. Now, I don't think that she just goes over there and just screams the whole time she's there. Don't get me wrong. I think most of the time when she's at Grandma's and hanging out with Mama Lynn, it's probably fine. But if Amber doesn't get her way, there's hell to pay. And they all know that.
Me and my mom, when I first moved here, me and my mom would have very, I'm gonna say right in the beginning, it was kind of lighthearted. It was that honeymoon phase of oh my God, wow.
Honeymoon phase? I feel like I've heard that before.
It just goes to show that Emily was the love bomber because we were in that honeymoon phase. I fucking hate that saying, bro. My mom put me through a lot, and she's fully aware of that. And not only that, but there's a lot of heavy feelings in there. And sometimes sitting around with family and sitting around with my grandma, these conversations would come up.
Okay, clearly what she's doing here is trying to say that when Tammie said, my mom didn't like what Amber was saying to my sister.
Amber went over to my mom's house one day and was playing cards, and maybe she didn't like the way Amber was talking to my sister.
She's trying to make it sound as though it was just the hard conversations. It was us talking about our past and healing. And yeah, sometimes those conversations are hard, but we have to have them. I don't think that's what Tammie's talking about. I would guess it's the tantrums. It's the hatefulness. It's just the general Amber being mean, Amber being bossy, and Amber being entitled. That would be my guess as to what Grandma Lynn didn't like hearing from Amberlynn. I don't think Grandma Lynn would have had a problem with them talking about their past and working through it and saying, I wish you hadn't treated me like this, but now we're better. Because that's what she does. She basically spends a bunch of time going forward saying, we had to have the hard conversations about my childhood and all the things that I've been suffering from and all the trauma and all that stuff, but we're better now because of it.
And they were very therapeutic for both me and my mom, I'm not gonna lie.
And that's what she's saying Tammie's talking about, but I don't think that's what it is. So she's addressing when Mama Lynn called in the last live stream and didn't seem to care much about what was going on. Okay? And everybody was like, she didn't seem as hurt by all this as you claimed. And so this is her response to that.
But after the live stream, when me and my mom saw each other
and nobody could hear it and nobody could actually see what was going on,
communicated, it was a completely different story. My mom is genuinely hurt by this.
So I don't believe that. So yeah, of course she's going to say, yeah, but when you guys aren't watching, she is really distraught about all this stuff, you know? And she takes my side on everything. Yeah, of course she's going to say that.
Mom is genuinely hurt by this. Not only is she hurt, but she is genuinely shocked. Like it's taken her aback. Like, what the heck? My mom sat there and watched my whole live stream responding to my aunt, and she watched majority of it with me, actually. Like, we were right next to each other while she was watching it. And my mom would just look at me and be like, is she really sharing this right now?
Okay, hang on. So remember that she just said that her mom watched her entire live stream of Amber reacting to her aunt sitting right next to her, right? They were watching it together, and her mom was like, I can't believe she's sharing all this.
That's why my sister's laying low, because we can compare stories all day long.
It's not the fact that she's laying low. My mom just does not want to be part of this drama, whether that's publicly or privately. My mom is not like this. My mom does not understand A, why my aunt's doing this. My mom, B, does not have drama in her life. My mom drops people like a fucking hot potato the minute they bring any negativity or drama into her life, because her sobriety is the number one thing that's important to her. So the only people in her life are people who make her feel good. Like, my mom wants nothing to do with this, privately or publicly.
Interesting. You said that your mom drops people like a hot potato if they bring drama or negativity into her life to protect her sobriety. But then you also said that she sat there and watched with you your reaction to her sister publicly telling family secrets and spilling tea on her on the internet, knowing that that negativity could harm her sobriety. And there are only two ways this happened. Either she said, hey, let's watch this together, and you said, okay, instead of being a decent human being and saying, Mom, I don't think you should. I don't think this negativity and stress would be helpful for you. It might harm your sobriety, whatever. But you didn't do that. According to you, you guys watched it together. Or you told her to watch it with you. Either way, you brought negativity and stress into her life. Or, of course, there's always the option that you are just making that up and she doesn't care as much as you're saying, and you're using her again as an authority figure, as some way to bolster your argument and to make yourself seem like the righteous one in this situation.
The whole thing was sending, my sister even a letter. It wasn't about her sending my sister money. I had that. Yep.
It was about me sending money, because you're now holding that. Like, a lot of people even was aware to this. You genuinely are holding that over my mom's head. A lot of the live stream you had with Jordy last time was, well, I put money on her books. I did this. I did that. You're holding it over my mom's head. I didn't have to do that. I'm the daughter.
Now, wait a minute. She was saying that you didn't do it. She wasn't holding it over Mama Lynn's head. She was saying Amber didn't help at all. I was the one that was forced to help because Amber wouldn't do it. And now Amber's saying, I'm the daughter. I don't have to do that. She's the sister. She doesn't have to do that. Tammie was never obligated to send her sister money. If anybody, it should have been your grandma, their mom. But that wasn't going to happen. And so Tammie took care of it for a long time. And then when you finally got some money and when you were finally able to, you refused to write a letter. You refused to send any money. So you can sit here and say, it's not my job. I'm the daughter. She can say the same thing. It's not my job. I'm just the sister. And here's the thing. I don't believe either of you were obligated to send your mom anything. So I can't say that necessarily Tammie's right and you're wrong in this scenario, because you both could have just said, tough, we're not doing it. But Tammie did help her sister more than she ever really needed to, until she finally got tired of it and was hoping that you would kind of take up the slack. But you didn't. You were shitty about it.
When Aunt Tammie confronted Amber about failing to write a simple letter or send her mother a penny, Amber had this smug response.
You begged me to be there for my sister even after she abused me over and over. And now look, you're there for her, aren't you? So I got my wish. You're there for her. Because I knew my mom needed her sister.
So Tammie points out, rightfully, in my opinion, that Amber says, well, I'm the daughter and I shouldn't have to take care of my mom and I shouldn't have to do all this stuff. And Tammie says, well, I was her younger sister. So what's the difference? And this was Amber's reaction.
I don't even know what my age is half the time. Like, are you kidding me?
Notice that she is focused on the fact that Tammie is the younger sister. So let's just see where she goes with this.
The only, like, my brother, my little brother is my actual everything. He is someone, when he's in prison, I will send money. When he's out of prison, I will send money. I help my brother because that's what you do. You help siblings. That's something I will never hold over his head.
And of course she's playing high and mighty. That's what you do. You just help siblings. You don't have to. You're not obligated to. If you want to, that's great. And here's the thing. Tammie did. Tammie did over and over and over again. Even you said that back then.
From my aunt, I would expect, her to help my mom, but I guess I didn't expect such a big help and such a quick help, if that makes sense.
But there's a point where it becomes being taken advantage of, and you get tired of doing it. And a sibling is not a sibling's keeper, right? That whole, I'm not my brother's keeper, that sort of thing. That's great if you do that, which I don't believe it. I doubt it. But let's just say it's true. That's great. And that's your choice. And Tammie did too. And at a certain point, Tammie set boundaries because her sister was abusive. Her sister was violent. Her sister was dangerous. And her sister took advantage of her back then. She's obviously better now. What you're doing now is holding this over your aunt's head by saying, I helped my brother. And that's just what you do. Acting like you're better than her because you did it. Well, she did too. And then she set boundaries.
Ever. I still to this day do it. Literally a week ago. A week ago. But that's my heart and soul. And I always forget. Is he a year younger than me? Or is he 2 years younger than me? Birthdays, names, ages, they do not compute up here. I don't know what it is, but I can meet you.
I do. I think I know exactly what it is. If it's not your birthday, your name, something to do with you, you don't care. You don't care enough about anybody else to actually take the time or effort to remember anything about them.
You could tell me your name straight to my face and I absorb it with everything inside of me. I will not remember it 1 minute later. I don't know why. Like Eric and Ricky would get onto me all the time because I don't even remember their birthdays.
Yeah, that is telling. That is because you don't care about anybody but yourself. Your entire universe revolves around you. All the other information about other people is completely pointless to you, other than the people that you're trying to manipulate. The partners and stuff she's trying to love bomb, she will remember that stuff right then. But then once she pulls the bait and switch, when you get into a relationship with her and the honeymoon phase is over, she will forget all that stuff because it is no longer useful to her.
And the thing that I've kind of been saying is that I think that the reason why she has tried to take the side of her mom and not...
I have not taken no sides. Show me where I've taken a side, Jordy. Or even Tammie. Show me where I've taken a side.
I mean, you took a side. You very clearly did. And you did back then too. You did back in 2017, 2019, whatever. Here's the thing. You don't have to say, hey, Tammie, I'm taking my mom's side. It's your actions. And I know Amber's going to say, well, Tammie could have spent all this time with me too if she had just come over, whatever. But from your own admission, you didn't invite her over other than just a real quick, You should come over sometime.
When I hugged her goodbye on Thanksgiving, I was like, I can't wait to see you again. You should come over. She never took the steps into doing so.
And then you expected her to reach out to you to come over to visit you. But again, you said yourself, you can't go anywhere. It's not like you could go to her house. So you kind of have to invite her over. You have to be the one to reach out and say, hey, why don't you come over and eat dinner or whatever? But you didn't do that. You expected her to reach out to you to come over to your house. And then next thing Tammie knows, you are spending all of your time with Mama Lynn. So whether you told Tammie, hey, I'm taking sides or not, doesn't matter. You took sides.
I want you guys to guess right now how my aunt knew I was at the Chinese buffet. I want you guys to guess how my aunt knew we were at the Chinese buffet. This is funny. This is funny. Like, it's genuinely funny. She knew because she was there. She was there.
Oh my God, that's crazy. She was there?
Me and my mom could not stop laughing about it. She made it seem like it was like this big conspiracy, like she never goes to a buffet. It's like the craziest thing. How could someone be at a buffet?
That is not what it was. It's just she understands that you should probably not be at a buffet. You, the one who is running what you call a weight loss channel while you gain 300 pounds, should not be at a Chinese buffet. We all know that. If I'm trying to lose weight, a Chinese buffet is the last place that I should be going, besides maybe Uncle Jeb's Unlimited Soda and Cake Emporium. Now, I understand that you can go there. Sure, go for it if you want to, but just understand you're not helping yourself. So there was a long period of time where Tammie was trying to help Amber lose weight. She would try to help her with her Weight Watchers.
She's also on her weight loss journey, and she's doing fantastic. She does Weight Watchers, so she gives me some tips here and there, and, you know, I try to give her some as well.
Try to help her kind of calculate her points, things like that, help her with exercise. And Amber was always just ungrateful and entitled about it and just a real shithead about it.
So my aunt posted a picture on Facebook that said, you want to know how I'm losing weight? Well, it's lots of hours in the gym or something like that. And I commented down below and be like, I'm losing weight without the gym. And I noticed that my aunt kept liking this girl's comments of what she was saying, but she wasn't liking mine. And I was like shocked because mine were purely about how proud I am of myself. And that I don't have to be fit to be proud of myself. I just have to lose my weight and finally not be in the morbidly obese section. And I feel like more so than anything, I thought my aunt would kind of have my side because this girl was nothing to her besides, I guess, a trainer that she met once or twice. I don't know. So I was like, so I messaged my aunt and I was like, I see that you're reading these and you're liking all her things that she's saying, but I don't see you liking mine. And my aunt's reply was, I noticed you were being confrontational, and she's a trainer, so she knows what she's talking about. And I was like, whoa, auntie, legit, I wasn't being confrontational. I was just telling her that I do not have to be fit to love myself. It really hit home. I was like, okay, me and my aunt are, you know, bonding each and every day. And the fact that she's gonna sit there and say those things to me and agree with this person really was mind-boggling to me. It confused me. It hurt my feelings. When I sent my aunt the message back saying I'm not gonna have a trainer telling me when I should love myself and that I can only love myself and be proud of myself and feel good about myself as if I'm fit, that's not okay. But she didn't reply to me. All she said was ugh. And ugh to my aunt means, oh my god, this drama queen. And you know what? Okay, I might be coming off a little dramatic right now, but now my aunt is posting really mean things on her page, like quotes about selfish people, and I'm the farthest from selfish.
So yeah, that's the kind of crap that Tammie would have to deal with constantly from Amber. Every time Amber thought she knew better, she would be confrontational. And of course, Amber is oblivious. She just thinks she's standing up for herself. So yeah, obviously that would get pretty old. But that was something that Aunt Tammie did for a long time. And so to her, it's like, yeah, this person who I'm trying to help, who I've always tried to help lose weight, who says she wants to lose weight, who says she's tired of being this size, is going to a Chinese buffet. Is it the end of the world? No. Is it a conspiracy? No. It's just not good for you. And it just shows that Tammie was like, no matter what we do to try to help her, she doesn't do anything to help herself. Tammie wasn't saying it's wrong to go to a buffet. She wasn't saying I never go to a buffet. She was just saying Amber, the one who says she wants to lose weight, is going to a buffet. It just shows that she doesn't give a shit.
Like, Jordy turns me and my... I don't know if Jordy has a bad relationship with his mom or what, but he turns me...
Of course, again, it's deflecting and maybe projecting a little bit again.
...and my mom's, like, relationship into, like, vile. He literally agrees with the fact that, like, when I had cancer, like, he was like, yeah, the only reason why her mom came back into her life is because Amberlynn needed her. I didn't need my mom. I needed her emotionally. And my mom decided, you know what? I'm going to be...
I don't know that that is a bad thing to say. So I don't remember what Jordy said about that. But if I hear that, if I hear Jordy say the only reason her mom came into her life during cancer is because Amberlynn needed her, that sounds like a positive to me, right? Like, your daughter needs you. You came to help her. What's the problem? I don't understand. Am I missing something? That doesn't sound bad to me. Let me reiterate again. Jordy said the only reason Amberlynn's mom is back in her life during the whole cancer thing is because Amberlynn needed her. That's a good thing that she came back. And that's Amber. She is constantly accusing everybody else of twisting everything to make it as bad as possible, but that's exactly what she does. That's what she just did.
Amberlynn's response to the blackmail, and that she said that she was...
If you'll remember, basically what was happening was Tammie was having an affair, which on the surface sucks and sounds bad, but she was in an abusive marriage. Her husband was abusive. And so she was having an affair. She was afraid to tell her husband. And she didn't get into that much in the last live. And Jordy will mention that in a second. But that is why she didn't want to tell her husband. And then Amber finds out about it. Now, I will say it was probably not smart of Tammie to tell Mama Lynn what was going on, because Mama Lynn was less than trustworthy at that time in their life. I don't know when this was exactly, but anyway, she told Amber, and then Amber used it to blackmail her, to let her mom come back and stay with her, basically. Like, I want my mom to come stay with you. It sure would be bad if your husband found out that you were having an affair. What would your husband think?
She was a 20-year-old child, and she mentioned it. She never blackmailed. She never went through with it. Was she aware that you were in an abusive relationship?
100% she was aware, and being 20 is not an excuse. She knows.
So being 20 is not an excuse for me, but everyone else thinks that being 20 is a child. Everyone else, I had a friend with a 20-year-old a few years ago, and everyone's like, Amberlynn, that's a child. But when it's 20-year-old Amberlynn, oh, that's not a child. We need to, like, figure it out and make up our minds on this, because it can't be one way for that person, but not for the next.
Okay, so she's talking about Abby here. And I'm not going to get real deep into the story of Abby, but basically Abby was around 20 years old, and Abby was struggling with her sexual orientation and her identity. And Amber was much older. And so nobody called Abby a child at 20 years old. They said that she was young and vulnerable, because she was. She had expressed lots of doubts, lots of confusion, and lots of fear surrounding her sexuality because she came from a household that would not be very friendly to that, we'll say. And Amber took advantage of that because Amber was much older and was being pretty inappropriate considering the circumstances. So this is a very different situation. Amber is trying to conflate the two, but the bottom line is nobody called Abby a child. It was just that she was young and vulnerable because of her situation. This is different. You were old enough to know better. And think about this. As soon as Amber found out about the affair, her first thought was, I'm going to go tell my aunt, what would your husband think? I have a strong feeling that Amber knew about the situation between Tammie and her husband, because with that scenario and wanting her mom to come live with Tammie again, she thought that she could scare Tammie into compliance, into doing what Amber wanted. Because that's all that matters at the end of the day to Amber, is Amber getting what she wants.
Exactly what she was doing. How you guys see her go vile in her tone, in her behavior, in her tantrum. It was exactly like that. Let me tell you, she comes from a household of abuse, violent, domestic violence, screaming at the top, spitting in your face. I mean vile. And so that's what she learned it from.
And people always question, why is Amberlynn like this? It's because I'm broken. I'm broken. I'm a broken person. With CPTSD, which is what I have, it is constant, repeated things that were traumatic. How am I supposed to heal from every single repeated thing? I'm talking hundreds, probably thousands. How do I heal from that? From each thing, from things that I don't even remember, but my body remembers. How?
So this is where the problem lies with Amberlynn. She's addicted to the sympathy. She's addicted to telling you what went wrong in her life so that you can feel sorry for her. But she's never willing to do the work to get better. She keeps saying, how do I fix it? How do I get better? I will never heal. I'm broken. And yet she doesn't take the steps and follow through with what she needs to do to get help. We have heard time and time again from countless ex-partners and people that know Amber who have said she makes the appointments and just never goes. And I think it's because she likes to have the excuse. I think it's because she likes to be able to throw out this pity party and say, woe is me, look at how sad I am, look at how horrible my life was. And yeah, your life sucked when you were growing up. I do think she still exaggerates some things because she loves the sympathy. But I absolutely understand that her life sucked growing up. She had a shitty childhood. I get it. But lots of people have shitty childhoods that don't continue to lie, continue to treat people like crap, and most of them don't air it all out on the internet. So if you're expecting sympathy from the majority of people on the internet, you are in the wrong place and you're doing the wrong things. You're not going to therapy like you're supposed to. It's pretty obvious. So your tears don't work on most of us anymore.
I am trying my f***ing hardest. I'm so tired of people wanting me to be perfect. It's not going to happen.
And that's always the cherry on top, right? Is I'm trying my hardest. I am trying as hard as I can, whether it's to lose weight, to get better with her mental health, whatever. I'm trying my hardest. Amberlynn doesn't know what it feels like to try her hardest at anything. She doesn't know what it feels like to try at anything, period. If it takes the slightest amount of time or effort, she's just not going to do it. And then she weasels out of any kind of responsibility by saying, I'm tired of people expecting me to be perfect. When, first of all, nobody ever said that anybody is supposed to be perfect. But just like when she starts a diet, she always finds a way to sort of mentally weasel out of it. I'm trying my hardest, but I'm not perfect. You can't expect me to be perfect. Therefore, I'm still going to keep doing the things that I do, I'm going to keep doing the things that are problematic, and you can't come for me because of it. Because I just said you can't expect me to be perfect.
So yeah, it was bad. It was very bad.
I mean, putting another woman in that kind of situation, I mean, I couldn't imagine how nerve-wracking that must have been if you were potentially thinking maybe somebody was going to put hands on you.
And literally, I never thought of it from that perspective until now. Until, someone said in the comments, and to think, no, everyone's ignoring the fact that she did this after knowing, and she did know. My whole family knew. And he would look at me in the eye, say, until death do us part, in a very psychotic way, many, many times. And when I finally had enough, I literally told him, take me out, because life with you is far worse than death where I believe I'm going. And that's when, I was willing to die to leave him.
And notice when it's her trauma, she's crying, she's freaking out and stuff. But when she's listening to Tammie talk about her trauma, she is just not interested, just bored.
Wow.
But yeah, she was willing to assist in the matter, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, out of everything that we talked about, I would probably say that stood out the most.
Yeah.
So it stood out the most that my aunt was cheating on her husband, who I did not find out was abusive until later.
I don't believe that. Tammie just said everybody knew. It was something that basically the whole family knew. So this is Amber's attempt to distance herself from this, right? Claiming I didn't even know until later, which I doubt it. I can absolutely see Amber knowing exactly what would happen and blackmailing anyway.
My mom was homeless at the time. I lived with a girlfriend. I was only 20 years old. My mom was homeless, and the only person that could help her was my aunt. And during that whole thing, I literally told my aunt, how would your husband feel if he knew he was cheating on you? And that stood out to Jordy, because a 20-year-old literally said, how would your husband feel?
Again, you're 20, you're not a child. You knew exactly what you were doing. And even if you didn't know the way her husband treated her, that's still just really crappy of you, That just shows what a type of person you are.
If he knew you were cheating, that stood out. I didn't tell him. I didn't say I was going to tell him.
No, and that doesn't help any, because in my mind, that proves that you knew what would happen if she found out, and you were using it as a scare tactic. The blackmail has a lot more teeth if you're using it knowing that she could be put in a dangerous situation. And that's why you used it, in my opinion.
That's what stood out to you? Oh no, 15 years ago, Amberlynn said, how would your husband feel?
See, downplaying it, because either she doesn't understand how horrible that is, that she was willing to put her aunt in danger, or at least make her aunt think that she was going to be put in danger. Because I don't buy for a second that she didn't know. I think that's why she did it. But even if she didn't, it's pretty messed up that when she finds out, the first thing she does is go to her aunt, who's supposed to love her unconditionally. Remember that?
Like, my aunt saw me. This is crazy. My aunt, the one who's supposed to love me unconditionally, she saw me.
I think that's supposed to go both ways. The first thing she did was go right to her and go, what would your husband think if he found out? That just shows what kind of person Amberlynn is. And then to now go, oh no, big deal. It shows she has not changed at all. If she had changed, she would have said, you're right. That was really bad of me. I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad choice on my part. I'm sorry. But instead, she downplays it because Amberlynn has not changed. She is just as horrible now as she was back then. So I'm going to stop this one here. But Amberlynn is convinced that she is the only one that can be the victim. She's got the monopoly on victimhood and sympathy. Now, like I said earlier, I am not 100% sure that Tammie's not just trying to get attention. She is related to Amberlynn, so it could run in the family. Who knows? But the bottom line is, Tammie coming out and saying stuff has caused Amber to reveal herself more than I think she even realizes. So we'll kind of see where this goes. I'm not sure that the Tammie arc has much staying power right now unless she starts showing texts or really giving some new information that can kind of shake up girl world. But I do really think Amber's response to all this has been worth it. But as far as the rest of this live, I will go through it and pick out the most interesting things, and we'll just kind of play it by ear. So I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.